what other animals are you going to bring back?
Well,
what's the plan? What's the plan, Beth?
Well, we have announced, obviously, the mammoth and the thylacine, that's the Tasmanian tiger, and the dodo, which is my favorite. I see my dodo.
Oh, that's cool.
But we have DNA from lots of different animals, so, you never know.
Okay, pause right here. Did you catch that? Joe just asked where they're planning to put mammoths. That's not a throwaway question. That's the heart of the debate. Reintroducing massive, cold-adapted animals into modern ecosystems isn't as simple as finding empty land. Legally, governments have to approve, conservationists need to plan, and communities have to agree. Imagine suddenly being responsible for herds of mammoths roaming Alaska or Canada. That's not just a science experiment, that's a legal, environmental, and financial commitment for generations. So while the idea sounds incredible, the practical challenges are monumental.
But is there so you've announced the woolly mammoth?
That's right.
And where will that be?
Where are we going to put mammoths?
Yeah. Are you going to reintroduce them into areas?
Eventually, that is the goal, to have animals that live in wild habitats. But this will be a very long process.
Direwolves?
No, we won't be reintroducing direwolves.
Okay, so not predators, but you would consider...
Well, not direwolves.
Oh, so you weren't joking about the cheetah?
Well, I mean, we don't currently have any plans to bring cheetahs or saber-toothed cats back to life.
But you might. I don't like how you said that. But if you did that, that would be where it would get sketchy.
Now, this part is fascinating and a little bit dark. Joe points out that pronghorn antelopes are still ridiculously fast, even though their main predator, prehistoric cheetahs, went extinct long ago. This is evolutionary lag. Their speed is a ghost of the past. But here's the kicker. If scientists bring back predators like cheetahs or saber-tooths, do we disrupt the balance of modern ecosystems? Legally, that's a nightmare scenario. Imagine the lawsuits if revived predators decimate protected species today. It's one thing to clone a dodo, it's another to reintroduce apex predators that could turn entire habitats upside down.
If you reintroduce an animal that can run 60 miles an hour to the plains, those poor antelopes who've been living it up, because they evolved, you know that, pronghorn antelopes, the reason why they're so fast, they evolved to get away from these cheetahs that don't exist anymore.
Yeah. It's true. But we know also from looking at the cheetahs that we have that they didn't only eat pronghorns. They were eating lots of things in their habitat.
Because pronghorns are fast.
They had to eat something else. Otherwise they would die, right?
They had to eat some slow stuff because the pronghorns are let's get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, for every species, there will be different work that has to be done to figure out whether and where is a good idea to reintroduce them. And for each of the species that we're working with, we have councils that we've put together in the part of the world where we would bring them back together to have conversations about where they should go, whether they should go, how many there should be, and who is willing to be the long-term stewards for these animals.
Now, I know that they've talked about...
Right here we get into the geopolitics. Beth mentions Siberia, but quickly points out that Russia is off the table because of, obvious political tensions. That means North America might become ground zero for de-extinction. Let's be real, this isn't just about biology. It's about international law, borders, and global cooperation. Who decides where a species lives when that species hasn't existed for thousands of years? And what happens when climate change, indigenous land rights, and national interests all collide? This isn't just science, it's policy, power, and politics rolled into O. Name mammoth-sized problem.
Talked about releasing woolly mammoths if they ever do make them in Siberia, right?
Well, right now we're not focusing on Russia because issues.
Obviously.
Right. So probably it would be somewhere in North America.
Maybe that's why Trump wants Greenland.
For mammoths.
Be a good place
Greenland
to put
filled
them.
with ice? I mean, mammoths really need a lot of
vegetation.
Yeah. So I think maybe not. Yeah.
That's right.
But, there's plenty of space in Alaska, right? Or northern Canada, or even around the plains. I mean, mammoths lived through warm periods and cold periods.
Right.
Obviously, they're cold adapted because they're big and furry.
Alaska would be the move, right? Because it's like the size of 1/3 of the United States, and they lived there.
Right.
And,
Right. And I'm not worried about the mammoth population getting out of control. I mean, these are animals that take 10 to 14 years to reach reproductive maturity. They have a 2-year pregnancy. It's not like there's suddenly going to be 1,000 mammoths.
Right.
This will be a very slow and deliberate and careful process. And like with the direwolves, there will be a stage in between the first calf being born and understanding how they're able to thrive in whatever habitat they're in. And these are really important parts of the de-extinction process.
Now stop and think about what Joe just said. Mammoths lived as recently as 4,000 years ago. That's not ancient history. That's practically yesterday in evolutionary terms. To put it in perspective, the pyramids of Giza were already standing when the last mammoths were still alive. This means we're not talking about bringing back dinosaurs with massive DNA gaps. We're talking about creatures that shared the planet with early civilizations. The science is closer than you think, and that's why this feels less like sci-fi and more like tomorrow's headline.
I was blown away when I heard that mammoths lived up till about 4,000 years ago on an island.
Yes, Wrangel Island off the coast of Siberia, but now maybe even in mainland North America based on that environmental DNA data. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I did
the
a really-
horses for 4,000 years, right? In that data,
Horses
but it was-
and mammoths,
That was
yeah.
4,000 years old too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, because we're not going to find the last fossils of something.
Right, of course, because
Right.
fossils are so difficult to make.
Right.
Most of the things don't leave fossils when they die.
That's right.
Like what percentage of the entire fossil record, bad pun, bad word to use there, but in record of animals have been fossilized?
It's really hard to know, right? And because the taphonomy, which means like how things are going to preserve, differs so much depending on where you are in the world. Like when things die in Alaska and you have this glacial silt that preserves things really quickly, we're probably finding a lot of things, right? But we've never found woolly rhinos in North America. So the hypothesis is they never made it across the Bering. There was when the sea level was lower, the Bering Strait was not a sea level. And instead they called Beringia. It was a land bridge.
Right.
Animals walked across that land bridge, including people walked across the land bridge to come into
Which
North
brings
America.
me to the short-faced bear.
Oh boy, here's where things get terrifying. The short-faced bear. Standing 12 feet tall, built like a tank, and faster than you'd ever want a bear to be. And the name? Total misdirection. Short-faced sounds almost harmless, right? But this was one of the most dominant predators in prehistoric North America. If something like this came back, we're not just talking about ecological risk. We're talking about public safety. Imagine hikers in Alaska having to worry about 12-foot bears instead of just grizzlies. And here's the legal kicker. Who's liable if one of these engineered giants attacks? The scientists? The governments? Or the private companies funding this? Suddenly, extinction starts to look like the safer option.
Oh, I don't like how you giggled. Are you guys going to try to bring that thing back?
I don't know. We do have its DNA.
Oh, my goodness.
I love the short-faced bear. You know what I like the most about it is because I think it's so dumb that it's called the short-faced bear. Like, why? Who was giving it that
Right.
common name? And they're like, oh, here's a bear that if it stands up, it's 12 feet tall. I'm going to call it the short-faced bear. Like,
Right, it's
what?
such an innocuous name for such a terrifying animal.
Right. Yeah.
One of my favorite photos on the internet is a photo of the short-faced bear standing up next to these scientists that are standing there, and you realize the size of it. You're like, that one.
Yeah.
Like, what in the hell?
Have you seen the longhorned bison? This bison that lived 120, 150,000 years ago?
I think I have.
There's a great photo that's somewhere on the internet of a skull on the ground and a scientist laying that
yeah,
one.
there it is. Yeah, that's crazy.
We have DNA from him.
You might bring that back?
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
What about the Irish elk?
Yep, we could do that one. We
Yeah.
have DNA from the
That thing's
Megaloceros.
nuts. When did
Yeah.
that thing go extinct?
I think that's also the end of the Ice Age. It wasn't in North America, but
Right.
Yeah, super cool.
That thing's nuts. It's
Yeah.
like a moose/elk
I love it.
looking thing.
There were also camels in North America. There's a camel called
Yeah.
Camelops. That was pretty cool.
All right, let's lighten it up. Sort of. Joe and Beth start laughing about the giant beaver. But honestly, a 5-foot beaver is no joke. Think about what a normal beaver can do to trees and waterways, then multiply that by 10. You'd be looking at an animal capable of reshaping rivers and forests on a massive scale. These Ice Age creatures weren't just bigger, they were ecosystem engineers. Bringing them back could mean rewriting the blueprint of North American landscapes. Cool? Absolutely. Dangerous? Potentially catastrophic. This is where the line between awe and caution gets razor thin.
Cool. Yeah, and a giant beaver, like a 5-foot tall beaver, which
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the giant beaver. Beavers scare me.
especially a 5-foot beaver.
A 5-foot beaver. Think about what a little beaver could do with its teeth. They
People
chew-
have found logs that have been chewed on by this thing. Like just imagine.
Did that die out in the Ice Age as
Yes,
well?
yeah.
So that's like 65% of all the megafauna in North America, right?
So many big things. So we lost so many big things.
Thomas Jefferson thought he had discovered a giant lion,
but it was a
turns out it was a
sloth.
sloth.
Yeah,
Giant sloth. It's
there were
named
just
just
the
after,
different
bones?
species of
it's
giant
named
sloths.
after him, Megalonyx jeffersoni.
Wow. Well, when you look at its face, it kind of looks like it could be a cat if you don't know that much.
So let's zoom out. What we just heard isn't just a wild science podcast. It's a glimpse into the future of conservation, politics, and maybe even human survival. Reviving mammoths could help fight climate change by restoring tundra ecosystems. Bringing back dodos could repair island biodiversity. But with every possibility comes risk. Ecological chaos, legal battles, and ethical questions that no one has fully answered yet. Should we play God with extinction? Or should we learn from the past and protect what's still here? We'll leave that question with you. And hey, if you found this conversation as mind-blowing, controversial, and entertaining as we did, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more videos that dive deep into the drama of science, culture, and everything in between.